Hello, and welcome back to another episode of the Couchbrotatopodcast. On today's show, I'm joined by producer Adam, as him and I give our reactions to the latest entry in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Thor, Love and Thunder. Him and I also break down what's going on with Marvel's Phase 4 of the MCU, why it's been a little lackluster, and what we think they need to do to fix things. Adam and I also touch a little bit on James Caan, who recently passed away, kind of give our thoughts on what movies of his you should revisit to celebrate his life and his career. So, after the guitar riff, the Couch Potato Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Couch Potato Podcast. I am Russ. Usually I'm joined by my co-host Lucas, but Lucas is unable to join us this week as that son of a bitch COVID has invaded his house. So he's a little under the weather. So, buddy, get well soon. We'll see you next week. But, as always, I get the perfect replacement. Producer Adam's on the show. Welcome back to the show, Producer Adam.
Thank you. It's good to be here.
What's happening your way? Anything new and exciting?
Nothing new and exciting, although we did see a newer movie this past week, and I think that's what we're here to talk about.
Yep. The gang got together. We went and seen Thor, Love and Thunder on Thursday, and that is the purpose of today's episode. We're going to give our thoughts and reaction to the newest adventure for the almighty god of thunder, Thor. Before we start, though, a little sad news report on Wednesday. Famous movie tough guy James Caan passed away at the age of 80. He was 82, 83. He was, of course, my notes don't have it. But, notorious movie tough guy, probably best known for his role as Sonny in The Godfather. Adam, do you have a favorite James Caan role?
Probably him in The Godfather is my favorite role of his.
Yeah, I mean, Sonny was the character that he was a hothead, but you almost kind of wanted him to take over for Marlon Brando. I mean, probably one of the best supporting characters in movie history, I think. Has a very gnarly death, and when I go to Toll Booths to this day, I still kind of get a little apprehensive just waiting for like a bunch of dudes with guns to... just going over his... filmography real quick. He was Paul Sheldon in Misery, which I completely forgot about that movie until I listened to a podcast last week, which actually came out the day before he passed away. But that's an incredible movie. Most of our listeners are probably going to remember him as Buddy the Elf's dad in Elf. He's got such an awesome filmography, especially check out some of his older stuff. He did a movie with Michael Mann called Thief, where he plays a safe cracker with a code of conduct, and he kind of betrays his own code of conduct to kind of get like a big job to get out of the game. He's awesome in that. I discovered him actually in my grandpa was an old Western fan, and he was in a John Wayne Western called El Dorado with Robert Mitchum, and he was a character in Mississippi in that. He was in Rollerball, which awesome movie from the 70s. Do not watch that shitty remake they did a few years ago. He was also in a movie called The Gambler, which they made a shitty remake with Mark Wahlberg a few years ago too. So, yeah, man, James Caan was one of a kind. Sad to see him go. His son Scott does a lot of stuff too. I think he was in that Hawaii Five-0 television show. Is that thing still on the air?
I don't know.
I know CBS was just like, you know what? We're just going to quit trying to create anything original. We're just going to make NCIS, CSI, and we're going to remake a bunch of old shows.
I think that's the trend nowadays, is try and get that nostalgia factor in literally every form of media.
Yeah, just leave it alone. I mean, why screw up a good thing?
Right.
Once you go see Thor, Love and Thunder, gang, please do yourself a favor. A lot of James Caan's movies are on streaming. You can find them on Paramount Plus, HBO Max. You can rent them on iTunes, Vudu, wherever you get your movies. So, yeah, do yourself a favor. Check out some of his old stuff. It's well worth it. So
I might Misery later. I don't know. I haven't seen that movie in a long time.
have you ever seen Thief?
I have seen Thief.
Oh, yeah,
once.
so yeah, Thief is awesome. Really good movie. I think that's the first thing I went and checked out after I found out he had passed was that, because I'd seen that a long time ago, and I hadn't had a chance to watch it in a while, and I'd seen they put it on HBO Max, and I always seem to start it at like 10:30 at night, which I
might watch that too.
Yeah, I'm pretty much in old man territory now where I sit in my chair and I end up falling asleep at like 11 o'clock.
Gotta watch my programs.
My programs. Mother, can you get me the TV guide and the remote control? All right, well, yeah, do yourself a favor. Go check out James Caan stuff after you listen to this episode. You go see Thor, Love, and Thunder. But without further ado, we will get to the meat and bones of this episode. Our reactions to Thor, Love, and Thunder, which came out on Thursday, did $143 million this weekend, which is, I think, the third highest grossing movie of the pandemic era.
Yeah.
Give you folks a quick rundown before you listen any further. Adam and I plan on spoiling a lot in this movie, so if you have not seen Thor, Love, and Thunder, please wait, go see the movie, then come back and listen to what we thought of it. You know what? You should probably put like a spoiler, like an alert of some kind right before we start this.
You do that.
You know, go spoiler, 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 or, you know, a siren or some shit. That'd be kind of cool or annoying.
I'll find something.
Probably both. All right. Well, without further ado, we are going to get into Thor. So this is your last opportunity to stop, go see the movie, come back and revisit, get our thoughts on the movie. This movie, basically, let me find the synopsis here. I had it and then I clicked back and now I'm trying to. Okay, there we go. All right. Well, Gore, who's played by Christian Bale, is found. The movie starts out, him and his daughter, Love, are basically trying to survive on a deserted island. His daughter basically passes away due to starvation, and then he finds himself in this oasis with his god, Rapu. I think is it Rapu or Rapu?
Yeah, something like that.
All right, well, basically Christian Bale's telling him how he worships, you know, the ground he walks on, you know, that's his God. And basically Rapu just like, you know what, I don't give a fuck. You know, you're here to basically suffer for me. They discover a sword, the Necro sword, which is kind of this black magic sword, calls out to Gore. He picks it up, stabs Rapu, and basically he is taking an oath to wipe out the entire universe of the gods. So that becomes his mission. Then meanwhile, we see Thor, who is with our friends, the Guardians of the Galaxy, trying to save the universe after they kind of complete their mission in spectacular fashion, which, you know, there's going to be shit that gets destroyed with the Guardians and Thor working together. They find a distress signal from Sif, who is back after she wasn't in Thor Ragnarok, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah, no, she was off-world somewhere. Yeah.
They find a distress signal from her. She's basically telling them that Gore is on his way to destroy New Asgard. So the Guardians and Thor part ways. Thor's headed to New Asgard. Then it cuts to Earth, where we find out the returning Jane Foster, who also is not in Thor Ragnarok. We find out she's got stage 4 cancer. Kind of goes through this montage of her trying to find a cure for herself. And then she basically, as a last bastion of hope, goes to New Asgard, hoping that Mjolnir will be able to help cure her cancer. And then we find out that Thor has put some kind of spell on that, to where basically Jane will get the powers of the hammer as well. Then we skip through a little bit. Gore decides he's going to attack New Asgard. Thor is already there. We get a little bit of a battle scene. This is where Thor and Jane meet up. Jane has now become the mighty Thor. She's wielding the hammer. She has the same powers as Thor, rocking the classic outfit with the helmet and the cape. So that was actually kind of a cool moment. Let me scroll down here a little bit. They are able to push Gore back, but not before he captures the children of New Asgard and takes them to the Dark Realm. Or the Shadow Realm, sorry. I don't know why I called it the Dark Realm. It's been a long day, guys. He takes these children to the Shadow Realm. So Thor, Jane, Gore, and Valkyrie come up with a plan to enlist the help of the gods. So they travel to Omnipotent City to seek the help of Zeus. And then Zeus basically tells him he's not going to help him out. Little battle ensues there. They steal Zeus's lightning bolt. They also they destroy Gore except for his face, which I thought was kind of disappointing.
Korg.
I don't know why I keep calling him that. Like, I don't know. Like, this Marvel Cinematic Wiki's got shit misspelled too. So they take the Shadow Realm. Of course, Valkyrie is injured. Korg is injured as well. They find out that Mjolnir basically takes the strength from Jane when she's not wielding it, so it's making her sicker and weaker. So she can't help him out. They come up with a plan to where Thor is going to battle Gore by himself. A really cool moment where they take the kids. They give them the power of Thor. Do you want to take over? I'm not good at reading these summaries. I didn't.
Oh yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah, they take over. They get to choose like their weapon, which is like anything they pick up, basically. Thor gives them a pep talk, tells them that they're children of Asgard. Even if they're not children of Asgard today, they're Asgardians, and they get to fight like Asgardians. So they end up fighting along with Thor to get him to Stormbreaker, which is the key to eternity, where Gore is trying to get to, because he wants to make a wish to eternity, which for those who aren't aware, eternity is one of the most powerful beings in all of the Marvel universe. I'm surprised they actually showed eternity like they did, because like in the Marvel comics, they have like sort of a human shape, kind of like Eternity did in the movie, but like they're shapeless, I guess. I don't know. It was weird. It was cool seeing. But eventually Gore gets to Eternity after Jane destroys his Necro Sword. The gate's still open, so he stumbles through wounded, and Jane and Thor go after him. And Jane is dying because she breaks the hammer as a sacrifice to destroy the Necro Sword. So she's dying more quickly. And Gore is about to make his wish to eternity. And they plead to Gore's human. Oh, I guess he's not really. He's a humanoid, I guess. They plead to his humanity, and like say, choose love, don't choose hatred, don't choose the evil. And instead of wishing for all the gods to die, he wishes for his daughter back. And she comes back. Gore dies, and Jane dies, and floats off into nothingness like Odin did, just turned into dust. And Thor is left with Love, Gore's daughter, and he promises Gore that he's going to take care of her. And we are met with a montage scene afterwards where we get to see the Asgardians reunited with the children. And Korg is giving the story of love and thunder because of the god of thunder and his new adoptive daughter, Love, which it ended pretty well. I was thinking that they were going to save Jane, but I thought it ended pretty well.
Mm-hmm. Then I got a couple post-credit scenes. First one is during the battle of when you think that Zeus has been killed by his own his lightning bolt. Turns out he's alive, basically, and then he ends up summoning an old pal. Turns out it's Hercules, who's played by Roy Kent himself from you Ted Lasso fans, Brent Goldstein.
Yep.
And then the second one is after Jane passes away. The theme of the movie is if you basically, when you die in battle, you are sent to Valhalla. Turns out Jane ends up in Valhalla after she passes away. And she meets Heimdall, who's played by Idris Elba. Mm-hmm. That was the second post-credit scene. So let me ask you, so what are your thoughts, man? What did you think of Thor, Love and Thunder?
Before we get away from the end credit scenes, I got two things I wanted to add to the scene in Valhalla.
Go ahead.
It was sort of trying to recapture the goofiness of Ragnarok, and I thought it would have been funny if we saw what's her name? Thor's warrior buddy that lost her arm. I can't remember. Sif, thank you.
Well, she's training the kids in New Asgard.
Right. I thought it would have been funny if Sif's arm was involved.
Oh, yeah, like you just kind of seen it like off to the side. Yeah, because that's mentioned earlier. She's trying to, Thor basically saves her, and she's basically waiting to die out, and it turns out she didn't die in battle.
Yeah. So
she's not going to Valhalla if she passes away on that planet, so she comes back. So.
And I was thinking, oh, well, what if they show Odin because he went to Valhalla? And I was like, no, they're not going to get Anthony Hopkins because he's too expensive.
Yeah, I think Thor Ragnarok was Anthony Hopkins. All right, peace out. I'm done.
Yeah.
Where's my check? And then I think Thor Love and Thunder was Natalie Portman's. All right, peace out. I'm done. Movie too. So what did you think of Thor Love and Thunder?
Thor Love and Thunder was now, when we spoke about it after the movie, everybody gave their initial impressions of meh, it was okay, which seems to be the going rate of all the Phase 4 Marvel movies. But my initial reaction was I enjoyed it. And that's what I was thinking when I was watching. Is like, this is enjoyable to watch. This is fun. It's a fun, superhero movie, which is what the Marvel movies have been, is fun superhero movies, especially like in the beginning phases. Like, they didn't have coherence somewhat. They didn't do the whole Thanos thing until a little bit later. Mm-hmm. And they were fun superhero movies. And so in looking at it like that, it was great. It was fine. It was a Marvel movie. I think right now we've been spoiled with having them all be interconnected in a Marvel Cinematic Universe. So when people are like, "Well, how does this fit? Why is it seems so detached? Why is it?" It was good. It was fun. I liked it.
Yeah, I thought it was solid. I think I said in our summer movie preview episode, which you can find on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast, the cheap plug of the night. I thought that this one had the potential to be disappointing a little bit, and I think that was the case. I mean, especially coming after, like, Ragnarok is considered by most, including myself, one of the top-tier Marvel movies that they've produced. It was just a really fun, different take on the character, and it showcased the best of what Chris Hemsworth offers, which I think with the first two movies, Chris Hemsworth didn't really get to show off what makes him, captivating on screen. He's got a lot of good comedic timing, and he didn't get to really show that off in the first two. And now he got a chance to show that off in Ragnarok. And I think I was expecting something similar, but I think with Thor Love and Thunder, I think they try to there's too many different movie genres they try to mash up. Like, it tries to be a rom-com, it tries to be a horror movie, which I will tell you right now, gore, some of that shit with him is frightening, especially seen on the big screen and like in the black and white.
That's pretty cool.
And it tries to be an action movie, and sometimes I think they try to insert jokes for the sake of inserting them. So I mean, like, it was good. I would say in the Phase 4 universe, it's probably one of the better movies they've done, but I think it was a touch disappointing.
I can see that. And that's what I was saying before. It's like we've been spoiled with all these, interconnected, enormous, multiversal superhero movies that, have these giant reveals or these twists that are. That's what we're in the era of spoilers. Like, oh, don't tell me about the movie. I want to watch the movie. And like, when it just is a movie about Thor and Jane, and it's okay. It was a movie.
Well,
it was enjoyable.
I think in the Phase 4 between, was this the sixth movie in Phase 4? Because we had Spider-Man, Shang-Chi, Black Widow. This is the sixth one, right? Yeah. Then on top of that, like, you've had the TV shows. We've had 5 or 6 television shows now.
Yeah.
And I think with those, it's just, okay, like, what is this leading to? It doesn't seem to be any kind of, like, it's not leading to anything.
I think what they're trying to do, which is okay, but not so much in this era. Like, back when the original movies were being made and it wasn't apparent that they were going to do an interconnected universe, like, it took a while to make each individual movie. Like, we had years in between movies. Mm-hmm. And nowadays we have streaming. We have these movies that are being made one right after the other because they have the backing of Disney's giant wallet, and they want to make more money. They want to print more money. So we get all of this content all at once instead of, with years in between, and we expect it to go somewhere sooner. Mm-hmm. And I think what Disney's trying to do is they're trying to, and this is just my speculation, they're trying to make it so that you can watch the movies and have that be the Phase 4 without having a Disney Plus subscription, and having the shows just be spin-off extra stuff that might connect the movies and might enhance your experience a little bit, but you don't have to watch them to know where it's going. So I think, like, if you shoved the shows out of the way, even so, this phase is kind of lackluster.
But I think it's been extremely lackluster.
Again, like, we're getting lots of movies all at once rather than years in between. So
yeah, I mean, some of that has to do with, the pandemic pushed we didn't really get anything Marvel oriented till July of last year.
Right. And that slowed it down a lot too.
Yeah, when we went from, not, because they've gone from it used to be like 3 movies a year maybe, mm-hmm. And now since July of a calendar year, we've gotten 6 movies.
Yeah, and that might be why we feel like it's not going anywhere too, because like they planned it out. They planned it out 7 years ahead of time. Mm-hmm. That's what Kevin Feige says. Like 7 years ahead of time, that's how far we plan out. And so we're getting all of the stuff that we missed, but we're getting it all at once. So it feels like it's not going anywhere. We're going like 60 miles an hour, but covering like 3 miles of road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I don't know. It's because I think, I don't know when the Phase 6 is going to be over. I would imagine it's probably either with Wakanda Forever or the upcoming Ant-Man, because I think Ant-Man and the Wasp, that third movie is going to be in February.
Yeah.
My math is right. But yeah, I don't know. It just, I think with the exception of Spider-Man No Way Home, it's just because and I think that works so well because you got the Spider-Verse, but
right.
I don't know. It's the way this is going. It really hasn't. Like, I'm not really wowed when I go to the movies. Like, I know we'd go see like Endgame. Like, holy shit! that was so fucking awesome. And now it's just like, okay, that was cool. You know, it was a good time at the movie theater, but like,
Yeah, it's not as impactful. Yeah, and I think that's also like we're coming off of a 20, what is it, 20 years or
yeah, it was like a 20
or 10 year, I'm sorry,
yeah,
10
10-year
years,
build.
20 movie crescendo.
It feels like it's been 20 years of these like this Phase 4
Yeah.
stuff.
Got those flip flopped. But yeah, no, it's like it's gone uphill, and then suddenly we have a steep drop off because we have to back up again. So it kind of feels like that. Two, like we don't have a big bad guy yet. We had Thanos in the last, like in the Infinity War saga. We don't have a big bad in this one yet, and people. Again, spoiler alerts for people that haven't watched anything recently Marvel related, but we have Kingpin from Daredevil. We have Kang. We have anybody from Spider-Man now. If you haven't seen Spider-Man, please go watch it. I'm sorry I'm spoiling it for you, but
well, you know, that came out in December. It's been 7 months.
Right. But anybody from Spider-Man, especially Kingpin, like he was originally a Spider-Man villain. We don't have any like huge bad guys like Galactus or anything. Everybody's been speculating Doctor Doom, but they haven't even done a Fantastic Four movie yet. We've gotten Mr. Fantastic, but that's it. Like, so there's no real direction it's going.
And I know for me too is, I mean, I enjoy these movies for the most part, but I'm not I'd say a comic book reader. Like I used to be as a kid, but like I haven't really gotten into it in a while. I mean, honestly, like most of these characters, I could probably speak for a good portion of the 7 people that listen to our show. I mean, do you really know or care about most of these characters that have been in this? I mean, everybody knows Thor, everybody knows Doctor Strange, everybody knows Spider-Man, but like, I mean, Shang-Chi was really good, but like, honestly, how many people were like super amped up to see Shang-Chi? I mean, they had an audience because it did very well at the box office.
Oh yeah, yeah. And I think that Disney really breathed new life into that character too, because he's one of the B or C-list Marvel superheroes.
I would say he's a C-list for sure.
I mean, yeah, he's got his dad as the Mandarin, and the Mandarin's a big bad villain, and but like, yeah, he's okay. Now when I went to see Shang-Chi, like that's probably my favorite movie of this phase, besides Spider-Man. I'm not counting Spider-Man.
I was gonna say, man, you might want to. Are you sure?
Favorite new addition, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And, I went into that movie not expecting anything, and I came out like really, really surprised. Especially like it's the best kung fu movie I've seen in a really, really long time. If you go into it just expecting it to be a martial arts movie, you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, that one I was pleasantly surprised. I know I kind of wanted to see it when it came out, and then I think my wife and I went seeing it. Like hell, it'd been in theaters for over a month by the time I got to see it. But yeah, I came away pleasantly surprised by that one. But I mean, like, you know, the Eternals, I respect what they tried to do, but I think it just ultimately just kind of fell a little flat. Black Widow, I think, honestly, like looking back now after watching it again, I think it was really, you didn't need to make a Black Widow movie after she had passed away in Endgame. I mean, I think that would have been more of a, that should have been more of a phase 2 type of movie.
Yeah. I think they just they realized they made a mistake and they were trying to give her dues, and then a real world battle between her and Disney popped up. That was, you know, life imitates art.
But I mean, realistically though, I think, at least for me, I think these movies are really going to fall flat until like, because it seems like they're following kind of like the similar formula. I'm at the point now where I'm really just, all right, when are we going to get the Fantastic Four? When are we going to get the X-Men? When are we going to get Deadpool? Because I think getting especially the X-Men into it opens up a whole new, opens up so many different avenues they could take the movies.
Hey, if Sir Ian McKellen is vibrant enough to do another superhero movie, I'm okay with Magneto being the big bad.
Fuck, bring Fassbender. I always liked his version of Magneto as well, but they'll probably end up recasting like all new people for that. Especially now that spoiler alert. But if you're already listening, you've probably already seen it. But spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Doctor Strange, go watch it. It's on Disney Plus now. But I think with those characters that they brought in for the Illuminati scene in the Multiverse of Madness, I don't think we're getting Patrick Stewart as Professor X. I honestly now I don't think Krasinski's going to be Mr. Fantastic now.
Really?
I don't know. I have a feel like because I watched Doctor Strange again not too long ago, and like I don't know, like it just seems like Krasinski was the Mr. Fantastic in that universe, and we're going to get somebody else in our realm. Yeah. I think that was mostly done as fan service because he was kind of the the number one pick for Mr. Fantastic.
I don't know. We might see him later on as Mr. Fantastic. I wouldn't be mad if he was.
Oh no, I would like to see him as Mr. Fantastic too. But yeah just the Phase 4 has just been kind of lackluster for me. Just like I appreciate, like I thought Thor: Love and Thunder was the best chance to kind of right the ship.
Yeah,
because like with Wakanda Forever, which is coming out in November, like I have no clue what the hell's going to go on with that. Because I mean, Chadwick Boseman not being T'Challa is like, okay, where is this franchise going to go?
And I mean, I'm excited for Black Panther because I liked the first one, but I'm not excited for Black Panther because we don't have T'Challa, and we also like I can't base my excitement off of the first movie. Mm-hmm. That's like one of the biggest downfalls of anybody going to see a sequel to anything is, oh man, I bet it's going to be great, and then no, well, it wasn't as great as the first one.
I think the trailer, whenever that comes out, would be the determining factor on whether I go see that, like opening day, opening weekend, or whether I like, okay, I'll wait a couple weeks to go see it.
Yeah. And
go ahead.
I think that honestly, from just poking around on different social media sites and forums and things like that, I think the general consensus is agreeing with us on most of these points. But they seem to have it in their head that the Ant-Man and the Wasp movie is where we're going to be introduced to the big bad and everything's going to magically flow. I don't see how, maybe with the quantum realm or something like that, or something between the Loki TV show and the quantum realm, or I honestly don't know, but that's when they seem to think that everything's going to make sense. And I don't know if I'm willing to wait that long, because then we'll have to go on like another 5-year journey or 6-year journey to get to the end of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. It just, I think that it almost makes me wonder sometimes with like them producing all this content. Now I know that some of the shows were produced during the pandemic, before the pandemic, they just didn't get them out in time. But it just makes me wonder if like now they're like starting to overextend themselves, and it's like they're trying to piece, like, okay, like they're losing track of the bigger picture, because trying to keep shit straight.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
So like, what do you think the like, what would you like to see done in Phase 4 to kind of right the ship? I personally think it's too late now. I think they're at the point now where it's like, unless I think Secret Invasion is coming out this year.
Yeah.
Now, I think that has potential to be really good, and I think that could also set the foundation for what's coming up next in the whole MCU. But, like, I don't know. What do you think that they need to do?
They need to introduce the X-Men, or at least some of them. Fantastic Four movie needs to be made.
Mm-hmm.
With the Fantastic Four and the X-Men, they need to make the connection between the Loki TV show, Spider-Man, and Multiverse of Madness, because they've introduced the multiverse at this point. They've introduced timelines and, being able to skip between them. So they need to make that all coherent. The reason why I think they introduced them to begin with is just so that they could use whichever character in whatever movie, and it makes sense because multiverse, which, good for Disney, but make it make sense, So they need to connect all of those movies, make it make sense. Introduce a big bad. Heck, make it Doctor Doom from the Fantastic Four movie. I don't care. Mm-hmm. Just introduce something that everybody can unite against, so that we can get the Avengers back together.
Yeah, I think that's. I think they need to get somewhere. It's like, okay, like, I appreciate the Thor side adventures. Like, I appreciate the side adventure with Doctor Strange. I like the fact they're introducing new characters, but, like, you've got to get to a fucking point at some point. It's like, what is the purpose of these outside just telling these little stories?
And they're introducing younger superheroes, and they're probably going to do the Young Avengers. Cool. Make it coherent, please.
Now, if they would do something like that, I would be all on board if they did the Young Avengers. Like, you got Kate Bishop and Yelena, and I don't know who else is in that.
Yeah.
That group, but I'd be fucking totally cool with that. I mean, I'd rather see something like that versus the Eternals, because, like, I don't know, like, I've said the execution's been
poor
about that. I know we've kind of sidetracked a little bit getting into the Phase 4 stuff. We'll go back to that later, but we'll bring it back into Thor: Love and Thunder. I mean, like, what did you enjoy about the movie? What was, like, because I know, like, I kind of shit on. For me, you said you liked it. I said it was kind of a mismatch of different genres. But what stood out in Thor?
It was a mishmash of certain genres. I enjoyed it for being just fun to watch. There wasn't a moment in there where it was slow or boring for me. Sometimes you'll get that in big epic action movies where there's a slow point and they're talking, or I always reference Star Wars, but you get the Senate hearings. Cool. I don't care. Take me back to fighting monsters, please. That's basically
like, I don't want Senate ramblings. If I wanted that, I'd watch the Book of Boba Fett.
Right. We need lightsaber go burr. So that's what I liked about Thor, is there was constant action. There was a fight in a lot of pretty much every scene. It was basically, if it were a written thing, all of the text would be a fight, and then it would be just punctuated by scenes of character development. Action, punctuation of character development, action. So I liked that flow. And then I really liked just the characters in it. Gore was really creepy. I didn't expect Christian Bale to do very well as the villain, but he was really good villain. It was really surprising. I enjoyed him. I liked his motivations.
Yeah.
And I just liked his character design too. He was really creepy to look at.
Especially in the black and white.
Yeah. And the his weapon was really cool. The Necro Sword has a cool name. I really liked the introduction of other gods from other religions and cultures and stuff like that, and bringing that into the Marvel universe. It is mentioned in the comic books, and I like the way that Marvel has made them cosmic beings, and they're superheroes to the sense of just humans, but they're I didn't like the fact that it's basically ripping off God of War with Hercules. Hercules is in Marvel, yeah, but like just the way that they're advertising it in this movie makes me feel like this is God of War from PS4.
Mm-hmm.
Like Thor is Kratos, and he's gonna go kill all the gods next.
Well, from what I've read about Hercules in the Marvel universe, is he's more of how Thor is now, and then the actor that's playing him, Brett Goldstein, which, like, if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, I don't know what you're waiting for. It's fantastic, but his character Roy Kent is a very dry, no nonsense, taking care of business type of guy, which is how Thor is kind of supposed to be in the comic book. So I'm kind of curious to see how, if they do anything with Hercules. That's another issue I have, and I'll talk about that in a minute with the Phase 4. But I'm curious to see how that goes too. Like, are they, is it going to be like, okay, Hercules is a fish out of water, and he kind of has to be serious because he doesn't know his way, and then he eventually like loosens up, and as he becomes more comfortable in his surroundings, he becomes the Hercules of the comic books. I don't know.
Well, as long as it's better than Kevin Sorbo, which isn't a very big benchmark to pass, but
or well, The Rock was Hercules too.
Oh yeah, yes he was. That's also not a very big benchmark.
Yeah.
Sorry, Dwayne Johnson. That was a terrible movie.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that either, and I love The Rock, but
yeah. But I also liked I liked the Shadow Realm. I liked the black and white. I liked how it drained the color. That was a really cool effect. The kids fighting was a really cool scene. It was visually fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
Just watching it visually, like it had great visuals, great effects. And I kind of laughed at the mention of the Shadow Realm because I'm a nerd and I like anime, and the Shadow Realm is from an anime, and they send the souls of kids there, which was funny for me, but nobody else.
Only you would get that. Like,
yeah, exactly.
I'm like, what the fuck's he laughing at, man? Like, seriously, kids got snapped the fuck up.
Got sent to the Shadow Realm. But I think that the plot was pretty well thought out. It wasn't like contrived or anything. It was pretty well thought about. And sometimes when you get like to the third or fourth movie, you, like with the Jurassic Park movies, you have to contrive a plot. Like, how are we going to get these guys to the dinosaur islands this time? Mm-hmm. This was pretty well thought about beforehand, and it didn't seem like it was contrived at all.
Yeah. I know for me, like, I thought Christian Bale was fucking awesome as the villain. I know when I had seen it, I think I had mentioned to somebody, like, I didn't really care about his story arc at first, but like I let it marinate for a little bit and I thought about it. But yeah, Christian Bale and even Russell Crowe, like, I think them two brought their A game for different reasons. Like, Christian Bale, I think, was channeling Heath Ledger a little bit. Heath Ledger's Joker. He had a lot of that menacing, terrifying villain, which I think is lacked in the Marvel Cinematic Universe up to that point. I really dug his performance. Russell Crowe as Zeus is just hamming it up, and I fucking love it. Like, I've never seen really Russell Crowe perform in that manner. He's usually like dead serious, but like he is just, it looks like he's having a ball chewing up scenery, and I appreciated that Although I'm worried about his weight fluctuation. Like he was pretty heavy and unhinged, and it looks like he's dropped a little bit. But I just don't want him. I don't think he could do the Russell or the Christian Bale thing where he can just drop and add weight that quickly. But I really dug him.
Yeah.
Chris Hemsworth. I love his new take on Thor. He's always really good. But yeah, I really I dug the performances. I just wish that they would have stuck with something more cohesive. I was a little disappointed though that we didn't get much of the Guardians of the Galaxy. I mean, I think they were just kind of there as a reminder, like, hey, don't forget about the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know, we're still a thing.
Yeah, I think that the reason why they did that was because, you know, they had to tie off loose ends, and so they might have had something larger planned, but due to COVID and like the way they had to restructure their release schedule, that sort of thing, they might have had like a way bigger role in Thor and Love and Thunder, or they might have even had like some other thing planned, but they just had to cut it short.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, I just or Chris Hemsworth, or not Chris Hemsworth, Chris Pratt must had another shitty Amazon thing to do too. I don't know. But yeah, I was a little disappointed. Like I was expecting a little bit more of them, but I guess it was enough to whet your appetite. I see why they were in there because essentially that's where we left Thor, was he was leaving with them. So I guess it made some sense. But I was expecting maybe they were going to be part of it a little more. I don't know. I also really enjoyed the scene where they were reenacting Thor Ragnarok, and we got Matt Damon and another one of the Hemsworth brothers. I forget which one it is, and then Sam Neill, and then they introduce we get a Melissa McCarthy cameo as Hela. I laughed out loud during that scene. I thought that was hysterical when she came out.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, that's like stuff I really liked. I think for nitpicks, I really wish they would have stuck with one thing. And I think, honestly, with Thor, I think you could have gone and I think some of the best stuff was the stuff with him and Jane, like that little montage of their relationship.
Yeah.
I thought that was like some of the best stuff in the movie. Like that was a perfect like rom-com scenario. And honestly, they went in that horror direction with Doctor Strange. I would have been okay if we would have gotten like Thor Love and Thunder became like a rom-com type of deal.
Yeah, I would have been that, yeah.
Because I thought that stuff really worked. I think that was like some of the best stuff in the movie. But I don't know, I guess that's my biggest nitpick is it just like I think they try to incorporate too many genres and they just couldn't settle on one. So it's like, we'll just fucking throw them all together.
That's a pretty good nitpick. I mean, they did throw a whole bunch of stuff together. Like I said, I enjoyed it anyways, but my biggest nitpick, if I had to pick one, would honestly be Chris Hemsworth's performance.
Really?
Like, not necessarily his performance, but his character. They made Thor stupid. He's lived for 1,000 years, and he still acts like he's dumb. Like,
yeah.
They did it in Ragnarok a little bit just to make him goofy, kind of, to fit the genre, but he still wasn't an idiot in that movie. In this, he seemed like he was an idiot, and I didn't like that at all. Like,
that kind of does make sense. Yeah, they kind of played him up as being stupid. It's like
he can be funny without being an idiot. They did it in Ragnarok. Like, that's funny, and he wasn't an idiot. Why are you making him an idiot in this movie?
Yeah, that's a solid nitpick. Yeah, like I did. Now that I'm thinking about it, like just some of the stuff that he did, like even when he was talking to the kids, it just like it sounds like me trying to give a pep talk to kids. Try like,
yeah,
it's like, okay, this guy's dumb. All right, well, hey, before we're running a little short on time. We like to keep these about an hour now because people don't like hearing us talk for more than an hour. I know, like, one thing I wanted to touch on real quick, too, when you brought up Hercules, that's another nitpick with Phase 4 is like when are these like post credit like reveals going to eventually pay off? Because it's almost like they're just putting them in there for the sake of putting them in there. It's like, okay, when are we going to see Hercules? When are we going to see Kang is going to be in the new Ant-Man? So I guess that makes some sense. But that's not really a post credit reveal. That's like a whole episode devoted to him. But
yeah,
even Julia Louis-Dreyfus in Black Widow, like we got a little bit of her in the Winter Soldier and Falcon show, but that's nothing's come of that either. So like, when's this shit gonna pay off? Like, when's we gonna get these characters popping up in other stuff too?
Right, and that goes back to when's it all gonna be cohesive and make sense?
Have some fucking cohesion, Marvel. Get to the point, or give us the fucking X-Men.
You know what they need? They need Jeff Lebowski's rug. They need the dude's rug. It pulls the room together. They need the fucking rug.
Oh, dude, I don't know why that would not make any sense at all for the dude to show up in an MCU movie, but I'd fucking like, all right, I'm down. What?
It pulls the room together. We need to pull the Marvel Cinematic Universe together with the Big Lebowski's
Have
rug.
a road trip movie. It's Thor and the Big Lebowski together, man. I would just no action, just like they somehow become neighbors in a small Nebraska town.
Yeah.
And it's just them on an adventure, like.
But yeah, he's already in the MCU, so we can't use the dude in the MCU.
You know what? They can do whatever they want.
Oh yeah, it's the multiverse. I forgot.
All right. Well, before we wrap this up, if we're ranking the Phase 4 movies now, what would your updated rankings be? Because I think we went over this in Doctor Strange as well. So, what would your rankings be now?
For Phase 4, number 1 is Spider-Man, obviously. This would probably be second. Oh wait, no. Shang-Chi is second. This would be third. Doctor Strange would be fourth. And Black Widow fifth, and then the Eternals, of the 10 minutes that I watched it before I turned it off because it was bad, would be seventh, even though it deserves to be sixth. It does not deserve to be sixth.
Spider-Man, Thor, Doctor Strange, Shang-Chi, Black Widow, the Eternals for me.
Yeah.
I think that Thor, just the familiarity with the character, it is a fun movie. I think that gives it a slight edge over, because I think I had Doctor Strange as number 2, but Doctor Strange slips to number 3 in this. So,
and you know what my biggest argument for Doctor Strange being number 3 is?
What's up?
It's the 90s cartoon X-Men theme that they use when Professor X comes on screen.
Oh, yeah. Which the more reason to do the fucking X-Men. Just introduce one or two of them. Oh, I'd lose my shit if that happened again. Like in Wakanda Forever, we get fucking like the post-credit scenes of Wolverine or something.
I like every single time I've mentioned a post-credit scene, I always want it to be just Wolverine's claws going through somebody, and then they fall over, and then you just see Hugh Jackman's smiling face with blood on it, and then it fades to black.
Yeah, although I think at this point, though, I don't think you'll see... I can't see him bringing Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine just because... Well, for one thing, he's much older now, but I think, too...
Yeah.
Like... He casts such a huge shadow. I think in terms of anybody that's ever been cast in a superhero movie, I think the three actors that have been like 10 out of 10 perfect casting was Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man, Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool, and Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. I think that's the holy trinity of comic book casting. I don't think it... I mean, that's MCU... No. DC.
Ryan Reynolds is good as Deadpool. Don't get me wrong, but I'll raise you that. I'll raise you J. Jonah Jameson.
I was talking about it as like heroes, but yeah, like
yeah, okay.
J.K. Simmons as J. Jonah Jameson. That is perfect as well.
Yeah, you can't recast that.
No, and I think that was like the smart thing that they did for No Way Home is you didn't have somebody else play that role. You just, but fuck it, we'll just bring it back.
That's the same with Doc Ock and Green Goblin. You can't recast those either.
Yeah, I mean those guys are good, but like I could possibly see somebody else playing them. But those Deadpool, Iron Man, and Wolverine.
Yeah,
those would be the 10. The 10 out of 10 guys. So, well, that's going to wrap this up. You got anything you want to add before we call it a day?
Yeah, go see Thor. It's fun. I mean, it might not satisfy your craving for MCU lore or a longing for another Avengers movie, but it's still a fun movie to watch.
Yeah, I think going forward when we do these, like we just we'll do like a grading scale, like rush out to see it as soon as possible. Definitely see it in the theater. Wait for it to come out on streaming, or just don't bother at all. So yeah, I'd say this is one. Definitely go see it in the theater. I don't think you should be in a huge rush, especially when Top Gun Maverick's still playing. And if you haven't seen that yet, I would see that one first.
Spoiler alert, I haven't seen it.
Oh, I didn't spoil anything about the movie. I'm just saying that. And I think after Bullet Train comes out, so I think that's the last big movie of the summer, I think we should do, well, shit, you guys haven't seen Top Gun yet, so maybe we'll organize a couch potato field trip where we go see Top Gun Maverick, because I'll fucking be more than happy to plunk money down to see that again.
Okay.
And then, because Jurassic World comes out on digital on Thursday, and my son and I were going to go see it in the theater, but we just opted to plunk down whatever that's going to cost to watch it at home.
Yeah, I would do that. I mean, it's not like, rush out and go see it. It's not the original Jurassic Park, but after I figured that thing out about the villain, I was like, okay, it's a 4 out of 5 instead of the 3 out of 5.
Yeah, I'll give you my report on that this weekend. And then I haven't seen Elvis yet. Black Phone's coming out on digital Friday too.
Yeah, I heard Black Phone's supposed to be good. And the Elvis thing is definitely Oscar fodder for sure.
I actually have heard pretty good things about that one.
Yeah.
I haven't seen Lightyear yet. That one I'll probably wait on.
Yeah.
Then, we have... Really, that's Nope, and we still got Nope, which I am planning on seeing opening weekend for sure, then Bullet Train.
Yeah, Nope looks really great. I'm definitely going to see Nope.
And then I think there's nothing until October after that.
That's disappointing.
Which I think that this will, in terms of its box office, I'd seen Thor had one of the lowest... I think it was tied for the lowest cinema. What's that? The cinema score when people the exit scores when people come out of theaters. I think it had the lowest one with the Eternals, which I thought was kind of weird. Like it's not that bad of a movie.
No, it's not. It's not Eternals bad. It's enjoyable.
So
like I turned Eternals off after like 10 minutes. I was just like, no, I can't do this.
And so I think Thor has a chance to leg out pretty good box office return.
Yeah.
Based on the fact that it has no competition for, I know this week it should still be, but then Nope is next week. Then I think Bullet Train's the week after.
Okay.
So I mean, then after that, considering that there's really nothing good coming out until October, Thor's probably got a shot to leg out a pretty sizable box office return. I don't think it'll do. I'll be shocked if it gets to Doctor Strange's 400, but I think it'll outdo Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Well, definitely go see Thor. I highly recommend it. I'm always going to recommend seeing it on the biggest and best screen possible. So if you've got a Dolby Cinema or an IMAX screen in your area, go check it out on that.
Yep.
All right, and I know coming up, hopefully, if the stars align, our next episode will be where we rank the MCU movies. We give you the definitive top 5 Marvel movies. Just the MCU, not like the X-Men stuff or Blade or anything like that. Okay. Just the MCU.
Are we counting the old Spider-Man movies? Because technically they're in the MCU now.
God damn it, dude. Don't fucking muck it up and like make things more complicated. It's going to be anything that has the Marvel Studios banner on it. That's what we're counting.
Okay.
That's it. Because then, like, technically you could bring the fucking X-Men into it because Patrick Stewart was in Doctor Strange. And
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we know which universe he came from. We know which universe the other guys came from.
Dude, you're making my head hurt. All right, well, that's going to wrap it up for this week. Sorry for the slight delay, but yeah, I wasn't expecting my co-host to come down with COVID. So that put a little bit of a delay on things. So next Tuesday, we'll be back with a brand new episode. So until next Tuesday, we bid you adieu. And that will do it for today's episode. We hope you guys and gals enjoyed what you heard. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter to get all the latest show updates. If you did like what you heard today, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. We drop episodes each and every Tuesday, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on a single episode of the Couch Potato Podcast. So until next Tuesday, we will talk to you guys later.